There were four. One night after the Aces and Liberty punched their tickets to a playoff rematch that felt inevitable, the Minnesota Lynx and Connecticut Sun have done the same. And with that, we welcome you into NBA Today. I'm Cassidy Hubbard, filling in for the marvelous Malika Andrews. Kendrick Perkins and Chinea Gumake are here to help me hold it down. And guys, let's get right into it, shall we? Because we had a thriller in Connecticut last night as Alyssa Thomas and the Sun outshined the Fever. And before the game, Dejanay Carrington presented with the Most Improved Player award after career year in her fourth regular season. But her season far from over, and this one was a fight. Early on, tempers flaring. Caitlin Clark misses the three over DeWanna Bonner. And Chinea, what did you see on this interaction?
I saw some contact, and this would not be the only interaction, but those players, they pushed through the play, and it gave us one of the best games we've seen in the playoffs.
And Caitlin not backing down, clearly fired up, hits the three over Bonner. The Fever bench loving it. Then a strange situation here. Clark pointing to the stands and saying, "Get him out," talking about a fan. And officials and security get together to identify the fan. The fan escorted out, and as that's happening, Bonner and Clark continue to exchange words, playoff basketball intensity, and it was felt throughout this game. Third quarter, it was close. Fever down 2. Clark fires a beautiful pass to Leah Boston for the layup. Then a minute later, Clark, two defenders key in on her, and she turns it over, and Carrington comes the other way for the layup, Chinea.
Yeah, Caitlin Clark is the most blitz player in the WNBA. Oftentimes she makes the right reads, but there was a turnover. But watch this emotion from Alyssa Thomas.
And she was on fire. Tough fadeaway, and then another tough layup. 19 points, 13 assists, and 5 rebounds for Alyssa Thomas. Fourth quarter here. Again, fired up, saying, "This is my city." 5.5 to play. Fever down 7. Clark, mid-range jumper. Fever within 5. And then a few possessions later, Fever down 2. Clark, big-time shot.
Tough. Doesn't get better than that, Cat.
Becomes the first rookie with 25 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists in a playoff game. Now with 2 minutes left, we're tied at 75. Boston gets free inside for an easy layup, part of her 16 points. She also had 19 boards. Less than a minute later, Bonner, part of her 15. Sun up 1. And just over a minute left. Fever down 1. Clark to Kelsey Mitchell. She misses the 3, gets her own miss, tries to kick it out, but turns it over. And Chinea, how big was Marina Mabrey in this game?
I say that she is the answer. Anytime someone knocks the 3 down on the opposing team, she comes back and strikes back. One of the best 3-point shooters in the league.
And under 20 seconds left, last chance for the Fever. Clark can't get it to go, and Clark and the Fever season comes to an end. Here's Alyssa Thomas after the game.
We're ready. I mean, I think we're tested tonight, and you know it wasn't pretty, but that's the nature of playoffs. And we pulled out a gutsy win, but this team is hungry. We're ready. As you can see, you know, our bench, everyone on our bench is contributing as well, and yeah, we're just having a lot of fun, and we're ready for what the playoff journey is going to unfold.
I feel like I had a solid year, but for me, the fun part is, like, I feel like I'm just scratching the surface, and I'm one that's nitpicking every single thing I do, and I know I want to, you know, help this franchise get even better, help my teammates get even better, be better for my teammates, and I know there's a lot of room for me to continue to improve, so that's what excites me the most. I feel like I can continue to get a lot better, and before we know it, I'm sure we'll all be back here and ready for the next year.
And it was a banner year for Caitlin Clark in her rookie season, and she set records along the way. First, the rookie marks: most points, assists, first rookie to have a triple-double, and made the most threes by a rookie in a season. And Caitlin's year also saw some WNBA records get set along the way, too. She set the single-season assist mark in her debut campaign, and those dimes added up. Clark created 38 points per game, a new league record, and she had 19 dimes against Dallas, a new single-game best. And all of those records led to some serious intrigue. Caitlin played in 21 games this season that had at least 1 million viewers, adding to a level of excitement the league has continued to see grow over the last few few seasons. So, Janae, we really haven't seen a rookie make a mark on the W like this ever. How will you remember Clark's first year in the league now that it's come to a close?
I'm just laughing at the soundbite because she said, I feel like I had a solid year and that I'm just scratching the surface. What? Understatement of the century, also scratching the surface. Watch out for Caitlin Clark for years to come because she has been the most impactful player that the W has seen in a generation. What she's doing both on and off the court, as you mentioned in that beautiful graphic. On the court, history, left, right, and center. She averaged 19 and 8. For some context, I averaged 12 as a Rookie of the Year back in 2014. Post All-Star break, she averaged 23, 9, and 5. She was on one. That break did wonders for her. On top of it, we didn't mention the triple doubles. First rookie to have a triple double. She actually had 2 on the season. Again, the litany of things that she has been able to do on the court is great, but you're seeing right there her true impact. We had arenas that were upgraded, arenas that fit maybe 8,000, selling out at 18,000 because Caitlin Clark was in town. Merchandise sold out as well. What Caitlin has done has moved the needle forward, not just for herself, but the entire WNBA, and that absolutely is respected.
You remember what happened in 2003? A guy by the name of LeBron James was drafted #1 in 2003, right? A guy, in my opinion, who had the most pressure ever in NBA history, right, for his living up to expectations. They had people, players at the time, that were actually waiting on LeBron, saying he wasn't going to be able to come and do this and do that, and he did everything and more. It's the same thing with Caitlin Clark. Coming into the draft, people were wondering. We heard her peers talking about, hey, she's going to have to level up against, the level of competition and the physicality, having to get poked in the eye, hard screens, being face guarded. Shanae, you talked about her being the most blitz player in the NBA. Well, that was for a reason. Because her legs got to be tied because she stood on business this past season, right? Exceeding expectations. She did that. Packing out arenas, having that pressure, what she did, staying composed, being a leader of her team at the point guard position. She exceeded expectations. It was a beautiful thing to see. It's exciting for the WNBA. She's going to come back better next year. She lived up to it.
Yeah, I think the most exciting thing about her first season is that she's just getting started and there's so much runway ahead of her. And while we know Caitlin's historic rookie campaign came to a close last night, we still will have to wait and see if we saw the final Diana Taurasi game and her career as part of the Sun. She faced Napheesa Collier in the Lynx in Game 2, and the two might have been teammates on Team USA, but here's what Napheesa Collier had to say about playing Taurasi.
Hopefully we can end her career on Wednesday.
And Janae, Collier was on a mission to do just that last night.
And apologized and said, y'all don't take that too crazy, but her game sort of sent the message that she was trying to taper down. Look at the bucket. She gets to her spot. She's so efficient as a scorer.
Collier now with 3 straight 30-point games in the playoffs, tying Asia Wilson for the most all time. Now, in the fourth quarter, Mercury down 12, Taurasi short turnaround to make it 10 points. What could be Taurasi's final career bucket, Janae?
I just got goosebumps as you said that. She has been one of the best scorers. She has been the best scorer in the league, as seen as the all-time leading scorer, but it was Minnesota's day.
Yeah, and it was the Collier show as she went absolutely off, tying the record for the most points in a single game in WNBA postseason history with 42. She has 80 points in the last 2 games, and she scored on all 8 primary defenders that she faced in the first round. Just absolute domination in the beginning of these playoffs. But once again, Taurasi leaving the court for what could be the final time. Collier comes over to give Taurasi a high five. Here's Collier after the game.
I'm just playing for my team. I'm trying to win a game. I'm trying to take advantage of what the defense is giving me. It's not even like I'm going out there with a point, goal in my head. I'm just trying to win the game. And so at the end of the day, that's all that matters to me. That stuff is really cool, but if you're not winning, it doesn't matter. So all I'm focusing on is, making it to the next round and playing our next game. So I think that stuff just comes from really great teammates. We had so many assists. I think all my baskets were assisted. My teammates did a great job of finding me, just taking advantage of what the defense was giving us.
I mean, Nafisa Collier was just balling out of control in the first round against the Mercury. Just look at her shot chart. 80 points across the first 2 games of the playoffs and doing it on 64% from the floor. It's almost laughable, Chanae. I mean, she was an absolute killer in this series. Is there anybody playing better basketball in the W right now?
Look, Asia has had a record year, but right now, Nafisa Collier, I know it's a small sample size, is averaging 40 points per game. And I'll show you exactly how she's doing it as we take it to the court with this breakdown, because she has been one of the best readers of the defense. Now, she operates in a very good system. Watch the screen. Cheryl Reeves knows how to put her in the right position, but then she makes the read. To her above her, she makes a beeline to the basket. These are the looks she's getting, but also the ability to have the agility and the footwork to not just run into the defense, but finish, right? Again, another flat screen. 2 people are above her. She just creates some space. She sees that the paint is open and available, sets a great screen. Nobody around her. This is going to give your opposing coach nightmares, because this person, Nafisa, is reading it so well. This time she's on the backside, and there's great vision. K-Mac, who's a great shooter, 3-point shooter, finds another sniper. Her hands are up, but again, she's still locked in and is able to knock it down. She's had career highs in rebounds, assists, steals, blocks, missed do-it-all while averaging 20 points per game. This has been, I don't want to say like it's a breakout party, because she's already been an Olympian, an all-star, but right now it's few, maybe only Asia, who has been historic this season. But right now in these 2 games, she's the hottest player in the WNBA.
But they have a lot of work ahead of them, as Fee and the Lynx will have a tough task ahead when they face the Sun in the next round. As Connecticut had the league's best defense during the regular season, Minnesota has home court advantage and will look to avenge their playoff loss to the Sun from 2023. Now, after solidifying their spot in the semis, Alyssa Thomas was asked about the professionalism her team showed in order to get there. This was her response.
In my 11-year career, I've never experienced the racial comments from the Indiana Fever fan base. You know, we had her face on a serious matter that happened in this world, and it's unacceptable, honestly. And yeah, there's no place for it, and we've been professional throughout the whole entire thing, but I've never been called the things that I've been called on social media, and there's no place for it. And you know, basketball is headed in a great direction, but nah, we don't want fans that are going to degrade us and call us racial names. I mean, we already see what's happening in the world and what we have to deal with in that aspect. And you know, we come to play basketball for our job and it's fun, but we don't want to go to work every day and have social media blown up over things like that. It's uncalled for, and something needs to be done, whether it's, you know, them checking their fans or this league checking. There's no time for it anymore.
Well, the league released a statement last night saying, quote, the WNBA is a competitive league with some of the most elite athletes in the world. While we welcome a growing fan base, the WNBA will not tolerate racist, derogatory, or threatening comments made about players, teams, and anyone affiliated with the league. League security is actively monitoring threat-related activity and will work directly with teams and arenas to take appropriate measures to include involving law enforcement as necessary. Jay, what was your reaction to Thomas's comments and the response from the W?
First, starting with the response, that response should have come earlier, especially when this was bubbling in the sentiment according to the players, because this is not something that's just new. This is not just coming out of the blue with Alyssa Thomas talking. I know AT very well. I played with her for 5 years in Connecticut so well. I've been telling everyone on the network that back before the new CBA, we shared a room for 4 years. And this is someone that has, you know, chooses to use few words. She's very quiet. She lets her game speak for itself when she plays. She's a bully on the floor, but off the floor, she's a very mild-mannered person. So if she is speaking, there's a reason why she's speaking. Now, the context to which the situation that she's addressing is that Dejanay Carrington, in a moment where she just won Most Improved Player and should be celebrating that, people are gaslighting the situation, in which Caitlin even diffused the poking in the eye. And that resulted in a number of racial things, including the N-word being slewed at Dejanay, in which she posted, hey guys, this is the type of stuff we deal with for situations that Caitlin has said, this is not real. I have said this is not real. We're all playing basketball. We're all competing at the high level. That is just one incident of many that has happened over the course of this past year. There's a lot of new fans that are very excited, but the way that we handle the game is not the same. And hopefully, you know, the league will know moving forward that these things have to be addressed from the beginning. It's not just the Connecticut Sun. Aaliyah Boston had to get off of social media when their team started the year 1-8. Diamond DeShields posted that people were calling her for her, she's someone who has survived a tumor. Hey, I wish that tumor really killed you. It's wild what these players are dealing with that are completely out of bounds. A number of players, not just AT, over the last few days have been raising their voices to the issues. And I'm glad that the league has put out a statement, but it definitely should have come way earlier.
I mean, bottom line, this league should be celebrated, not denigrated, and certainly not vilified. It's important to call out the bad behavior, but also let's drown it out with the joy of where this league is and where it's going, including, as you pointed out today, Janae, the exciting semifinals ahead this weekend on ESPN. And training camps open across the NBA. So let's catch up on the latest news with a little coast to coast, starting in LA. Yesterday, JJ Redick said that the Lakers are still discussing how to handle Bronny's first time on the court with his dad. Bobby, think we see Bronny on the court opening night against the Wolves?
I think we should start him opening night. Don't fall off your seat, Cassidy. Do not fall off your seat. I think when you look at it, let's just get it away right off the bat. As far as starting him, we won't have to ask that lingering question throughout the season here. When will we see LeBron with Bronny? Do it opening night right from the start.
Okay, starting him though. Okay. Thunder GM Sam Presti also spoke to the press yesterday saying, quote, "We don't think we're entitled to start on third base." Chene, how close do you think they are?
Super close. I mean, the list of what they still need is extremely short. They've got an MVP candidate in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. They have 3 stars that are under 26 that average a high amount of points. They got Hartenstein in the center position. They got Caruso, who's coveted by almost every team. If they come out of the West, I am not surprised at all. They did finish there last year.
I mean, they are loaded, and their 2 acquisitions, tough. Off to New Orleans, Zion Williamson told The Athletic, quote, "I'm out for straight vengeance in his 6th season." Perk, who exactly is he looking to avenge?
The rest of the league. And you know what? I love this Zion Williamson, right? A Zion with confidence, letting the world know that I'm about to come out full force. In my opinion, he was the most dominant player outside of Giannis last season before his injury. And I think he's going to come back again at full throttle. He looks in great shape. They're going to try him at the 5 position. I think he's going to probably lead the league in dunks this year, to be honest.
Comes down to health. And speaking of, the Clippers are holding Kawhi Leonard out of drills in next week's training camp. And team president Lawrence Frank was non-committal about Kawhi being ready for the regular season. Disappointing news after he just signed a 3-year extension in January for $153 million. All right, Big Perk, has Kawhi's window to win with the Clippers officially closed?
Yes. Especially with the departure of PG and Russ. Here's the thing. We got Bobby here today. My boy Bobby. Bobby, I got a question. I know you don't have the trade machine here, but I need to know this. I said this about a month ago. The Clippers need to really consider moving on from Kawhi and trading him. What are your thoughts? I need to know.
I think the answer is yes, Perk, but I think there's a but here. I think but if he's healthy, because that's really the only way they're going to extract as much value if Kawhi Leonard is healthy. And I think for right now, both the Clippers and Kawhi are married to each other until he can get on the court and show what he did last year before he got hurt in that Dallas series here. And listen, this Clippers team as is probably going to fight for the play-in. And I think if you're looking for a restart, you start it with looking at what you can get for Kawhi Leonard. But as I said, you're only going to do that if he's healthy.
Chene, trade Kawhi. Is that crazy talk, especially when they're opening up a new arena?
It's not really crazy talk if you talk to Clippers fans that are just itching to compete. The worst place to be in the NBA or even sports is in the middle, where you're not the worst, but you're not the best. So if you really want to move in a direction, maybe you look at that. But I don't know if everyone's all the way there yet, as you mentioned, Cass, because it's a new arena. If he is healthy, which is a big if, probably one of the biggest ifs in the NBA, he still has tremendous star power. And even though they lost Paul George, they have been sort of a strength in numbers team too. So we'll see what this team looks like if he's healthy. But again, that's the biggest if we've ever seen in the last few years.
Yeah, I mean, where do you have them right now in the West?
Right now, they're in the middle of the pack or even lower mid of the pack because we still don't know what we're going to get when we see the squad out there, especially if Kawhi, I mean, look, we expected him to be repping Team USA. That didn't happen. So now maybe the health will be better, but you still can't guarantee that.
And we still haven't seen, Kawhi at full clip because, he's missed at least 15 games.
Pun intended.
Yeah. in each season for the Clippers, including missing all of the 2022 season with that ACL injury. Packing in the second round after they blew a 20-point lead at home in Game 7 to the Timberwolves. But the reigning MVP and the rest of the 2023 champs seemed motivated by the loss when they returned to Denver for Media Day this morning.
Maybe not motivation, but just like don't regret it. Respect the good team that you are on, and because it can flip so easy and so quick. So just to respect and enjoy in the team and the collective that we have and what we build. So, and just to try to grow if it's possible.
As the players, as the young guys get older, they'll see that tougher to win in this league, and it's tough to even for GMs to create a team like this. That this well talented and that gets along this well. I think off the court as well. So I just said, just take advantage of the moment. We got a chance to do some great things. Let's make the most of it.
From the outside, everybody views our season as a failure because we didn't win it. And that's, in one hand, it's a compliment because we've set the standard so high and we were the defending champions. Failure can be a motivation, but it can't be fatal. We have a championship window. Not every team has a championship window. And what do? Do you take advantage of that, or do you look back in 20 years and have regrets?
All right, Perk, do you think that the Nuggets are in position to capitalize on their championship window?
Look, the magical number today is 41. I ain't talking about Glenn Rice, and I'm not talking about Dirk Nowitzki. I'm talking about that's the number that Jokic got drafted at, the pick, the 41st pick. Why do I bring that up? Because of the player development. We're talking about the best player in the NBA that was drafted in the second round and now is the best player. So if you're telling me, do they have enough? Yes, because I know they lost Caldwell Pope. But Christian Braun, another guy that they drafted, he's going to go through the Denver Nuggets player development. When it comes down to cultures and structure, the Nuggets are at the top of the list when it comes down to the foundation and culture in the organization. They have their pieces in Jokic, Murray, the kid, Porter Jr. My guy, I can't think of his name right now, I'm sorry, but Aaron Gordon, there you go. I'm sorry, I had a brain lapse. But they have their foundation there, right? And you trust their player development. They're going to be a top 4 team in the Western Conference. And again, anytime you have Nikola Jokic, you're going to have a chance of winning an NBA championship.
Well, I agree with Perk. They're still a top 4 team, but there's more questions this year than there were last year as far as when they won a championship. Who's the 5th starter? Is it Christian Braun or Julian Strawther? What can you get off your bench? Last year you ranked 25th in 3-point percentage. Now you lost Caldwell Pope. Brown maybe starts now. You replaced him with Russell Westbrook. You signed Dario Saric here. There's a lot of young players, as you could see with that age group. Deron Holmes is out for the year with an Achilles injury here. Can Michael Malone trust this young bench? And I think as great as Jokic is, it's the bench that's going to get this team through some of these adverse times.
But also you have to rely on Jamal Murray and Chiney. I mean, how big are the questions in your mind around Murray?
Well, when you get paid, there is pressure. 4 years, $208 million. There's going to be a lot of eyeballs on Jamal Murray, especially after the Olympics where people saw him not be his best self. There's going to be some question marks going in to say, like, is this the same Jamal Murray that we saw in the championship run? Perk, you started with the number 41. I'm going to give you 2. When they won a championship, Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray had the best 2-man game in the NBA. Now, without some of those key pieces, they're going to need to get back to that level and then some. When it comes to Jamal, I think he's still got the goods. He's one of the best closers. We remember that Lakers series, but it's the consistency of that is going to be required, considering that their supporting cast looks a little bit different. So, yeah, there are going to be some question marks, some pressure, but this is a guy that has proven that he's one of the best scorers in the NBA. We'll see if they can put it together to see if they can contend and get back to number 2, as Coach Malone said.
And we're talking a lot about the loss of KCP and Reggie Jackson, but the main reinforcement that the Nuggets got their 3-time MVP is a former MVP in Russell Westbrook. And here's Jokic on his newest teammate.
When I'm on the floor, I don't want to be walking around, shaking hands, kissing babies. I don't really want to do that. I'm there to, excuse my language, but kick some ass.
I mean, of course, we didn't have a good relationship on the court. We were fighting a lot. and talking back and forth. But I know who he is a little bit outside of the court. So great teammate, vocal leadership, the guy who want to listen, the guy who want to follow in the gym. So I think he's a great player for us, and I think he's going to bring us all the good stuff.
It's funny, I think when people talk about Russell Westbrook, no one really mentions defense. They mention how quick he is, how explosive he is, the rebounding, the playmaking. When we went back and watched as a staff his defense last year with the Clippers, end of games, he was on the opposing team's best player every night. Every night. So you have a guy that you can close games with in Russell Westbrook.
All right, a guy that you can close games with in 2024, Bobby. You agree?
I have to take my glasses off for that statement. Listen, I understand where Michael Malone is going here, certainly when you have a veteran here, and I think you cannot lose Westbrook right off from the start here. I look at that statement more of it that he doesn't trust the young players that we just mentioned here, and I understand the defense, but when you go back to that Clipper-Dallas series, that thing got away awfully quick, and I know there was injuries certainly with Kawhi Leonard here, but I think you have to be careful. If it's defense, one thing, but you have to make sure offensively everything goes through Jokic and Murray.
Well, we know every possession that runs through Jokic is a good one, Shanae, but do you think Russ can still be effective without the ball in his hands?
Yeah, I think the best lineups we've seen the last few years with Russ is when he essentially plays some kind of hybrid point guard, but also five, meaning they're smaller, he can attack downhill, but you're surrounded by shooters. The Denver Nuggets, they have a great offense. Jokic, he's a five that can stretch the floor, and so if Russ is on the floor, I don't think that's a huge liability. The question marks then are, okay, how does the spacing work with him and Aaron Gordon, who has improved his three-point shot? The spacing is the biggest question with Russ closing, but I do like that he's giving him confidence to say, we need him here. And I loved also that Jokic said, oh, yeah, all the good stuff, like the
yes,
good stuff of Russ is what we appreciated.
Perk?
Look, this is a perfect marriage, right? A perfect situation for Russell Westbrook and a perfect player for the Denver Nuggets. And when you talk about being effective, anyone could be effective when they're playing with Nikola Jokic, right? We see what he has done for Aaron Gordon game. Russ is one of the best, still one of the better slashers in the game today, right? He basically in Oklahoma, they created the corner slash when guys were told to hold the corners for corner three-point shots. I see Russ giving this team new life, right? Russ is still chasing that first championship. This is the first time in a long time that Russell Westbrook is actually in position to do that. He's going to take full advantage of it. I'm excited to see him embrace his new opportunity. And also, he's going to be the driving force. Let me tell you something about Russ real quick. When I played with Russ in Oklahoma City, Russ is that type of player. When you get off the bus on the road, you have a different type of swagger about yourself. His approach to the game, his approach walking into the arena, that's what you love. And you talk about a guy that could be the engine and put a key in a certain guy's back, that's Russell Westbrook.
And Jokic wanted him there, so it's going to be an interesting pairing, to say the least, since from one of the most athletic guards in the league history to another.
Could Caitlin Clark become the all-time leading scorer in WNBA history? After an incredible rookie season, many are wondering how long it might take her to break some of the league's most coveted records. Although Clark's debut season came to an end in the first round of the 2024 WNBA playoffs when the Indiana Fever was eliminated by the Connecticut Sun, she has already set herself on a path toward a legendary career in basketball. Just months after becoming the all-time leading scorer in NCAA history, Clark shattered multiple WNBA records for rookies, including most points in a season, most assists in a season, and the single-season rookie record for three-pointers made, among others. Given this stellar start, it's not far-fetched to believe that Clark could eventually dominate career statistics like points, assists, and three-pointers. But how long would it take for her to achieve these milestones? Can Caitlin Clark break the WNBA career points record? In 2024, Clark averaged 19.2 points per game, playing in all 40 regular season games and totaling 769 points in her debut. The all-time points leader, Diana Taurasi, currently holds 10,646 points and has played 20 seasons in the league. As of now, Taurasi has not confirmed if she will return for another season or retire. If Taurasi were to retire, Clark would need 9,878 points to break the record. If she maintains her current scoring pace of 19.2 points per game and plays every game in a 40-game season, she could become the all-time leading scorer in her 14th season, which would be in 2037. Of course, staying healthy is crucial. Injuries could significantly delay her pursuit of this record. If she can boost her scoring average while remaining injury-free, she might achieve this milestone even sooner. Can Caitlin Clark break the WNBA career assists record? In 2024, Clark averaged 8.4 assists per game, totaling 337 assists, a new WNBA season record. The current career assists leader is Sue Bird, with 3,234 assists. If Clark continues at her current pace, playing all games and assuming the WNBA remains at 40 regular season games, she could become the all-time assists leader in her 10th season, which would be in 2033. However, it's worth noting that another player, Courtney Vandersloot of the New York Liberty, is also on track to break Bird's record. Vandersloot is just 385 assists away from the record and is projected to surpass it in 2026 if she continues her current performance. Can Caitlin Clark break the WNBA career three-point record? In 2024, Clark averaged 3.1 three-pointers per game, making 122 shots from beyond the arc, the highest in the WNBA for the season. The career three-point record also belongs to Taurasi, who has 1,447 three-pointers. If Taurasi retires and Clark maintains her current shooting pace, playing every game in a 40-game season, she could break this record in her 12th season, or by 2035. With her talent and determination, Caitlin Clark is on the brink of making history. The journey ahead is full of potential, and fans are eagerly watching to see just how far she can go. Caitlin Clark envisions a bright future for Indiana. Although the Indiana Fever faced a swift exit from the 2024 WNBA playoffs after a two-game series loss to the Connecticut Sun, Clark remains hopeful and energized about what lies ahead for the franchise. Reflecting on her rookie season and the progress the Fever made, Clark emphasized the positives despite the playoff disappointment. "This is just a glimpse of what this organization can achieve," she stated. "We have plenty of reasons to keep our heads held high. Just 2 years ago, this team only won 5 games. We're young and still finding our way, but we've bonded and truly enjoyed playing together." Early in the season, the Fever struggled, staggering to a record of 1-8. However, they turned things around, showcasing some of their best basketball following the All-Star break and the Olympics. Clark, increasingly acclimated to the WNBA competition, expressed pride in her team's resilience during this turnaround. "It's tough when you feel like you're playing your best basketball, and then it has to come to an end. But I'm proud of this group. They stayed resilient all year and had so much fun together," she added. With the spotlight constantly on her, Clark averaged 19.2 points, 8.4 assists, and 5.7 rebounds per game in her debut season. There's a solid foundation to build upon in Indiana, and Clark signaled that the future is indeed bright, as long as they continue on their current trajectory and grow as a cohesive unit. Rebecca Lobo has strong words for Caitlin Clark following the announcement from ESPN. On Wednesday, Caitlin Clark's impressive rookie season came to an end as the Connecticut Sun defeated the Indiana Fever 87-81 in Game 2 of the WNBA playoffs. The game was aired on ESPN, and less than 24 hours later, the sports network made a significant announcement regarding viewership. According to ESPN PR on X, Game 2 between the Fever and Sun became the most-watched WNBA game of all time, averaging 2.5 million viewers and peaking at 3.4 million. This record prompted ESPN analyst Rebecca Lobo to share her thoughts on Clark's remarkable impact on the league. "Just like in college, Caitlin Clark is a singular force when it comes to driving viewership and ticket sales," Lobo tweeted. "The WNBA is finally shining in front of millions. I couldn't be more thrilled for these women." This milestone follows closely after Game 1 between the Fever and Sun became the most-watched WNBA playoff game on ESPN. Breaking such records is becoming a hallmark for both Clark and the Fever. Since her arrival in April, she has consistently shattered viewership and attendance records at every level. On the court, Clark has set multiple records, including the most assists in a season, the highest points scored by a rookie, and the most assists in a single game. Notably, she's the only rookie in league history to record a triple-double, doing it twice, no less. After a stellar 4 years with the Yukon Huskies, Lobo entered the WNBA in its inaugural season in 1997, playing 7 years primarily with the New York Liberty, where she earned All-Star honors and was named to the second All-WNBA team. Lobo was inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame in 2017, solidifying her legacy in the sport. Caitlin Clark is not just making waves, she's redefining the landscape of women's basketball. The future looks incredibly promising, and fans can't wait to see what she accomplishes next.